Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Alyssa and Mary, for joining. I will let you know at the time. Yeah. That's me. So fan of successful startups and driving impact. Yeah. Success. Yeah. I'm definitely fan of startups. I worked for Canva and Meta. I was some sort of lead there, but actually you're not really lead ever. Like even now in my company, you're just like, I think I'm very lucky that people work with me really, like I think that's kind of the reality. Yeah, about my upbringing. So I grew up with my mom. She was single raising me. My father passed away when I was very young. And then my mom is an artist and she kind of supported me with having a really creative and entrepreneurial perspective because she really had to hustle to be an artist, be single raising. And I don't think it was hard. It was just different. It was a very forming experience. People would say it is hard, or I would say it very often in the past, but I think now I see that it was a great opportunity for me to grow and learn. And that's also, I think, where I have a lot of my drive and recklessness and creativity and all of this that makes me partly a good entrepreneur, I think. Yeah, building and testing. You see, I always did here, I grew up on the countryside and we built stuff and I created also physical things like this thing, and I just love it. I always loved creating. I grew up among my uncle and other people who are entrepreneurs or and working for themselves. Yeah, I think the reason why I started, Tim, you asked before why I worked in tech, is I felt like when I grew up, there was so much uncertainty. So I felt the only option I really have is creating a lot of security in my life. So that's why I was extremely keen on working for Meta or Google or for the best company possible, because it just made me feel so secure. And I didn't want to go down the path like my mother did, but now I'm doing it anyhow because it's part of my DNA. Here's some inspirational videos. So you can see here, I shared it with you later. I'll send with you the presentation where you can see that later, what people say. I think this NVIDIA founder, what's his name? You know the name. I forgot the name, bad with name. But he's speaking about suffering, and I think this resonates very much with me. I think in the way I grew up in Austria, and also with my mom comes from a farm actually, and I think hard childhood, and their parents had a hard childhood. Everyone had a hard childhood, but because of that, I think it's the culture in my family is that if there's no pain, you don't really do anything. In a way, I don't know if it resonates to some of you. I think it's also in some part Asian culture, I would say. I live right now in Bangkok. I used to live in Sydney and Vienna, but I live now in Bangkok. And I feel if I don't feel enough pain, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing a wrong thing. It's not always true, but I feel it's partly true. Because if you don't doing something where there is resistance, you're probably doing something that is easy and already solved. Just as a philosophy for myself, I don't really have it written down, but it's something I feel when I work. And that's something you feel as an entrepreneur every day, because what is needed to succeed, I think, is just sustaining through. I mean, there's the successes that we have constantly, but I feel like, cool, it's just a box that is ticked. So what's next? What's next? What's next? And I think Mary can speak to that, and she's probably laughing now. It's like, okay, what's next? Now we did this, what's next? And Alisa is just her second day, so I hope she's not leaving after this presentation, the company. But yeah, that's what it is. I think it's always what's next? And in reality, no one really knows what creates really, really big companies. I mean, you think about, there's certain points in the life of very successful unicorn companies, consulting, etc., science. But I think you can see here in this path that there's not a straightforward path on unicorns in the US, at least. There's worked at other entrepreneurial company, big tech. You see, nothing really leads to a really big, there's not a single indicator that leads to that. So you can be from whatever background. Yeah, I think traits that help is having a clear vision, being persistent, working in a team. I think I definitely lack, or I don't lack the clear vision part, but I feel I am very persistent. I'm good in working in a team. To me, I think personally, the vision very early is overrated. You need to know the problem space and you need to execute and find out where the problem is. And why do I say that? Because when that's my personal opinion, when you look at Airbnb and all the stories, and Canva and all the great stuff, in hindsight, history always makes sense. In hindsight, you always know, oh yeah, and then they had these mattresses in Airbnb and was this big opportunity. when you speak to the founders, and I spoke with 30 founders already. I have this podcast, is a big word, this conversation with founders. And when you speak to them, no one really knows at the time what they're doing, what's happening and why it's successful, but they kind of keep doing it and think, oh, there's something around sleeping and booking. There needs to be an alternative way of booking properties, or there needs to be a new way on creating websites like Lovable in Europe now, or even for OpenAI, it's like when you listen to Sam Altman, it's like, yeah, we didn't know that people were using this chat, and then the chat becomes the thing. And I think they always work on this problem space, which is big, and then they, through execution, they find it out. So I think for me, it's the same. I think my vision skills are not that grandiose, but I think I'm very good on being persistent, working in a team, and executing very fast. Yeah. For me, the business model canvas doesn't work, design thinking doesn't work, creativity and testing a product, that is something that works for me, and it will be different for you. And it's important that you don't listen to me, you do what works for you, because every person is different, every business, but as long as you work hard and don't give up, you will figure it out, I'm sure. Being creative. Yeah, I mean, you can look this definition up yourself in ChatGPT, but basically, you just obstruct yourself from anything external. You do things that are not expected. I do this all the time. It creates a lot of trouble for me at many times. So I think don't be like me. Your life will be much easier in some way, but also I think I'm doing some things right. But yeah, just go the path where people don't think it's expected, especially socially, social norms. A lot of expectation can come that are not helpful on creating a business. And I think I need to find ways on actually thinking creative and doing things that make sense or are not expected. For example, that's why I asked you, Tim, when you said earlier, like, oh yeah, I want to do AI because I like optimizing. I mean, it's kind of expected from you as a student to do that, but what is not expected? Like what don't you like? I think this is like the answer. Like, you need to seek in yourself on figure out how to be creative. Like, what is it that you actually feel different than others that you would be going to a battle for? I think that's important to know around creativity. Yeah, and then ultimately you need time. Testing the product. It's kind of common sense. Like I'm gonna skip that. I think going to market quick, so doing something and then just testing it out quick and figure out how it works and being okay if it doesn't work. Because unlike what you learn in business school and like here and also in companies, most ideas are actually bad in the team as an entrepreneur you have, and it's your job to figure out what doesn't work, because most ideas are bad ideas. But usually when you're in it, brainstorm, all ideas are good and you can rate them. But it works in a company setting because you need to make sure everyone is contributing. But as an entrepreneur, there's only bad ideas and you need to figure out which ones are the good ones and when go through them really, really quick. That's something that Netflix founders did when they launched Netflix. They tested like so quick, just to figure out which ones are the best bad ideas and to move on. Yeah, but I have good news. There's actually a blueprint. And you can see here from last year to this year now, we have investment in our business from FirstPick. So FirstPick is a leading VC company in Europe. The backers of FirstPick are Speedinvest and Blackbird. You probably heard about Blackbird. They invested in Canva, the biggest VC in Australia, and Speedinvest is the biggest pre-seed to seed or seed to Series A VC in Europe. So they are backing FirstPick. They invested in us among others this year. And on the left side are our current metrics. So we have around 300,000 ARR, 25,000 MRR, monthly recurring revenue. Obviously, there's still a lot of variations in it, but this month is the first month we are just profitable cash flow wise. So I think we're not making a lot, but we actually are slightly profitable, which is awesome. And then we just increase our targets that end of the year we reach much more revenue and much more ARR. And also we want to help people to discover software through AI with authentic reviews, vertical relevance, social seeding. So it's like we're focusing much more on the AI space as well on the product. And that is what we're taking the investment from to build towards that. So I guess what I want to say is that you can see here, if you go back to the previous year and the year before presentation, and Corina, probably you can you can tell me if you think differently. But each year our business is evolving and moving actually in the right direction. I don't know where we're going to be next year, but there's actually a blueprint. And if you just do what I do, which is working a lot and figuring out, you will be as successful me or even more successful. I'm pretty sure about that. And I think yeah, you're here today. So right now you're here. I love this chart. So this is your life in weeks. So how many weeks you have, you probably know this or have seen that. And if you don't, hear this. And you can look it up for Wait But Why. That's the website. And you're basically born here, and then you're here around here. And then if you live around here, you have around 2,000 weeks left before your life ends. It's kind of sad, right? But when you look at it, the point is there's not so many. So each rectangle is a week, and there's like 2,000 rectangles left. So it's not that many, and I think it just means that, yeah, life is kind of short, so you really cannot fuck around. So make sure that you do what you like, and even if it's not what everyone tells you you need to do, just do it. And it's also okay to do it in a company. I think I'm not advocating here for becoming an entrepreneur because it's really, really hard. It's nerve-wracking. I have a coach, a psychologist. I have a lot of support functions that help me. I have a lot of people left behind to be where I am now. So here you see the Forbes 30 under 30 founders, and there's like Figma, they just IPO'd. But then there's also the opportunity to, I'm gonna stop sharing quickly. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things. I'm not advocating for you to become an entrepreneur because I think it is very hard. And if I had known what I will lose, I probably haven't done it. Like, I think so. What did I lose? I lost a lot of friends. For them, my life was just too intense. I lost business partners. My partner left me after 3.5 years. It was, I think, the hardest part of my life. But all of these things are kind of normal when you speak to other entrepreneurs. But it kind of sounds really crazy from the outside. When you actually speak to, yeah, of course, like I burned through my third relationship and stuff like this. So it is kind of crazy. And Mary and other people in the team were part of it through this entire journey. So I don't recommend it really because it is very hard. And I think a lot of people burn out, and it's something I think you need to be aware of. So I think if you work in a company, this is a great path because I think SAMS has amazing corporate partners and you can get a lot of learnings, and you can, if you like it, you can decide later, like me, you can work for years at whatever company and test out your entrepreneurial skills there. But then both paths are very valuable. But why did I pick being an entrepreneur? Because when I think about earning, what would a good life look like in Sydney? Like Corinna, like how much would you, if you imagine, how much would you earn per year? Like what would a great life be? Like how many $100,000 would you need? Are you comfortable telling me that? Like imagine like 300,000, 400,000 Australian dollar per year. What would it be?
400 at least.
400, yeah. So maybe let's say you want to make $400,000 a year. That means if you work for a company, you need to create at least 10 times more value. So it means you need to bring the company $4 million. It's like mathematics. If you want to make $400,000, you need to make $4 million in revenue for the company. So it means it's going to be Corinna. It's going to be Corinna's manager, the manager of the manager, and then it's going to be some board. So all this value and the shareholders, all this value is created if you make $400,000 a year and you're going to work 80 hours a week and you're not going to see your family. You're probably going to be CFO, CEO of not CEO, like CEO of a company, and you make $400,000, $200,000 cash, $200,000 share package. Also, if it's pre-tax, it's 800,000 actually. Yeah. So you need to make 8 million for the company in value. So the point is, it's much more likely that you can make 4 million, let's keep it without tax, 4 million as an entrepreneur, as an S&P. So even if my business doesn't succeed, I can create a business that makes $4 million in revenue. I can figure something out. Like it can be an S&P, it can be like a AI enabled, whatever. So when I think about the long time in my life, this is what I want, because I don't want to work 80 hours for another person that tells me what to do. So I can create $4 million value for someone else. And that's what I realized in Canva, because in Canva I added, or in Canva and Facebook, in Canva I added 10% incremental revenue increase in 2 years with my team. 10%. That's at the current revenue incremental. So it means like the experiments that I did in a team, that's $300 million additional revenue for the business. $300 million, or maybe it's $200 million. Just with the expense. So $200 million. But did I get $200 million or did I get like $20 million in salary? No. I got 150,000 Australian dollar and a share package, which was still great. I'm very thankful for it. But it's like the dimensions as you go into tech from a traditional company increase. So it's not 10x more value. It's maybe like 100, 1000x more value. So I think it's just a bad deal that I felt I have as an employee, and it's not adding up. Like, it's not, I'm not, and I'm gonna die, or I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna be old, working my ass off to have a comfortable life, and I cannot even enjoy it. So anyhow, my girlfriend will leave me at this time in the future or not, it doesn't matter, right? No, I'm kidding. Oh, I hope I have also my learnings. So I think from that perspective, I need to do this. And I'm young, I have to do it. I'm like, I cannot wait anymore. I have to do it. And so I left Canva, and pretty much the next day I started my business. So that's what it was. And actually I want to I have a much bigger vision. I want to create this AI space on enabling people find real people's review and creating $1 to $10 billion company. I don't know. It's very unlikely, but I think I can do it potentially. And no one believes in it, but I do. So that is what matters. And I think that's the path I chose for myself, but it's very hard. But even for you, if you go in a company, it's also okay. But don't forget, you're adding 10x more value for someone else. Like that's kind of what it is. And someone is always going to tell you what to do. You have to do it. For my case, my customers tell me what to do, but I like it. They are my customers. I like working with them. They're not my employer. They cannot force me to do something if I don't want to. I don't have to work with them, or vice versa. It's very normal. So I think there are a lot of benefits, but also there's things that are, for me, I haven't figured out how to manage in other entrepreneurs, which are very, very hard. So I don't recommend it. So definitely get a job and to optimize stuff like Tim or to other things. Yeah. I don't know, Mary, but Elisa, you just joined now. So I'm curious from you to hear, why are you joining a startup and not like a good job? Yeah. What's your advice for the other students? So Alicia is like first honors degree, smartest person in her university, and she decided to join me. I don't know why. So tell me, why did you join and didn't get a proper job? What did your parents think?
Well, at first I was kind of looking around, and I guess I just graduated as well. So I'm currently still in a similar boat to all of you. I guess I've always known that I want to do something I was passionate, supposed to give me more value in my life. And I don't really like similar. I don't even work for like big companies. Like, let's just say I'm climbing up the corporate ladder, and I guess the term is being a corporate slave. I don't know if it's appropriate to use that, but like, let's just say that for me, I just wanted to do something where I guess work hard and put pressure on myself more to build myself, to improve myself. And in that, that's why I decided to join a startup. And I was looking around for, especially in tech, where I've always been really interested and very curious about the tech field. And in that sense, I just came across Subscribed. And for me, I just wanted something more for myself. So that's just my point of view, but it's very different for everybody. Like some of my friends joined big companies and they're starting to enjoy it, and it's for them, but I wasn't sure it was for me. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. It's like for everyone different, and I think everyone should do what they want, and there's like pros and cons for everyone. And yeah, obviously for me, it's also easy now starting the business because I have experience. And when you look at the average successful entrepreneur, is that they're actually 45 when they start. So I think there's a lot of benefits. First, getting a job, doing something else, like Alicia and Mary working with the best startup in APAC. No, I'm kidding. So I think there's a lot of benefits working first for someone and then doing it. But then at some point also you can just say, okay, you just try it. And the worst case that can happen to me is that it doesn't work and I can get a job, and that is kind of okay. It's not the end of the world. I see not the value in being employed again after 2 years. But yeah, I like what I do a lot. Much more actually. Yeah, I think the takeaways is personal energy protected. Like for me, like I made a lot of changes this year to basically don't let people take my energy and remove them. Like I'm not a person that removes friends. I don't like that, but more in a business setting. Personally, I'm very different. But in a business setting, it's not possible. Unfortunately, you cannot be with everyone, and I need to protect my energy. It's not about them not performing or it's just not a fit, and I cannot put the energy into things and people that don't help us evolve as a business because it's so hard and I need to protect my energy. We trying to keep the business model simple. I think when you start doing things, it's not simple, and that is okay. I think don't keep it simple for the sake of simplicity. Just try it out and be okay with the chaos and then consolidate it. So that's also what we're doing. It's like going very broad, consolidating and then keep trying to make it simple again, getting more complex, but go back on keeping it simple, removing things we don't need. So now we're removing right now 30-40% of all features and things we did because we realized, okay, we are on the wrong track. We tested it out and see everything as a test and experiment, and then we remove it. And I think there's no perfect product, so just get it out. And I think test it, get customers, make them pay. And I'm very lucky. I have some amazing mentors. So I have I think I have the best. Where is it? Here, you can read it up here. And if you want introductions or any of my mentors and people, you can see it here. I will introduce you. I can't promise it, but I will ask them. So here you see we have Daniel. He exited his company to Canva. Sean Ellis is the growth person in Silicon Valley. So he was the first growth person from Dropbox. So he invented this referral thing, refer someone with email and stuff like that. They all, he built like a $300 million company, Kittle. It's like similar to Figma, also like design tool. So all of them have like pretty successful businesses. And then there's a few new investors which aren't there. Simons and I, we co-founded. He's a CTO. We exited our previous company together. But yeah, all of these people are really great, and there are more who are not here. He's the first sales hire for Trustpilot. He's advising us, and there's more that we cannot disclose or they don't want to be there. Depends. But yeah, I think there's no perfect product. Get it out there, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. That's it. Mary, anything to add from you? Like any tips you have for the kids on how to survive in a startup? Because I feel we worked so long together. What was the hardest thing that ever happened in the business for you? Yeah.
Maybe somehow at some point.
The cost
Like
cutting when we were on very little salary for some time.
yeah, for some time. But that's the thing. It's important that you have the vision. Where do you want to go? What's the next thing you would do? What's the goal for the business? If you know that, then you keep moving forward. That's it. Then
Yeah.
I'm a volunteer also here in Philippines for IDEA. So there's a lot of startups here also that we're helping. So I think one thing I can give to you guys is like just some quote that your network is your network worth. So as much as possible, since you're young, try to engage with people, with founders, something like that, and learn from them, learn how they do it. It's gonna be helpful for you.
And don't do the things that they do wrong, right? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Karina, I guess, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. What are your questions for also Alicia and Mary? I hope it was okay. I brought them uninvited, but I felt like there's so much more value if you bring people who are helping us. So our team, we are now 7 people or 8, 12 with all the consultants. So I wanted to know, what are your questions?
Well, I think it's great you brought your team because very often there is this idea the entrepreneurship is a solo journey, but it's actually the team around the entrepreneur that helps entrepreneurship happening. So it's great to have this brought us to class as an exemplar because our students will work in a team to shape their opportunity. Questions? Students are a bit tired. It's the end of the long day. Do we have any questions? Yes, we have. Where is the microphone?
Also come up to stage because then I see you, I don't see you here really, you know what I mean? Sorry for asking you. You can also queue up at the stage if you want to or whatever is easier because...
Or is it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's very interesting that you're saying that you don't recommend being an entrepreneur. Do you think that has something about you as a person specifically and your personal aspects than the general like field?
I don't know. You need to figure it out. It's just my personal experience, obviously. Of course, it's about my own view. So I think there's many ways of entrepreneurship, and you can do it part-time and stuff. Yeah, definitely it's because of my own experiences.
And just
Yeah.
like a follow-up question, because we've had a lot of classes about leadership, and as an entrepreneur, often you're the boss or the leader of whatever you're starting. The number one tips that we've gotten over the past 2 weeks is be open to adjust yourself and for feedback. Do you think that's something you could have done more of as a leader, or do you think again that it's just the general field that's complicated?
I mean, maybe I took on feedback too much. You know, I think, yes, it's true you work in a team, but also when it's hardest, you're by yourself. You know, you're by yourself. You need to figure out to make the decision. No one can make the decision for you if I'm gonna pay Mary and from what resources, right? So you're responsible for that. One of the things I had to unlearn is coming from a company actually is that the feedback part. So it's like basically don't listen to the feedback. No one knows the business as good as you. And even if you make the wrong decision. So in a way, like that's very different, I think. Like it doesn't mean, basically what I say with that is, it doesn't mean I make all the decisions like, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's not like this. But I think the nuanced decision, like, and I think Mary would agree, is like, for this customer, we have to do it like this. And I just don't know why. And I know, like, I see the pattern and Mary would say no. And then maybe I'm right, you know? And then often I'm also wrong. And I'm like, okay, cool, we do it like this. So it's like with the feedback part, it's like, it's important to listen and work in a team if you are driving it, but you're responsible for the resource, you're responsible for everything. So you have to make decisions where you don't listen to everyone. Like even on an advisor role, I'm very happy for all the advisors I have, but take the parts that are useful for you, not everything, you know, like, but it's something, it's normal, right? So it's like, yes, feedback is important, but be nuanced, in particular when you speak with VCs and people who work in this space and telling you how to build a business. They have no clue. So if they haven't run a business, like that's something I had to learn. Like they're very helpful and operators and really nice, but they only see the data. They don't see the pain of doing stuff. So yeah, with advisors and things, just be very thoughtful, like take on the people that you like working with and also look very closely what they did before. Did they actually work just in companies, have some money and help you with some advice? Is cheap. Advice is very cheap, but it's what is much different is time. Are they actually like putting in the sweat and stuff like that? Yeah. What's your name?
So, my name's Emma. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Emma. Yeah.
So just to clarify, because you said don't listen to advice. So at the end of the day, you would rather listen to your own gut feeling than listen to advice?
Yeah, I mean, listen to it. Of course, listen to it,
Right.
but not to all of it. You know,
Okay,
like
cool.
do a little bit what feels right for you. You know, like Emma, right? Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you run a business. You don't want to be told all the time what to do. You know, like in a way, of course, everyone can tell me, all the investors can tell me, don't do this and that. They do that, but I think, yeah, just don't take it literal. You know, like it's okay to push back. Like sometimes. I tell people is like, yeah, I don't agree with you. I think you don't know what you're talking about. You don't understand my business. And especially when I started, you know, a lot of people would be like, what's your business plan? Like, what's your financial? This doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. Like always the same thing. But, you know, now we're just doing it. We raise the money. Our business is growing. And they, at the time, if you listen to them, you wouldn't even start. And that's, I think, the problem. You just start. You need to start. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good luck.
Hi, Piers.
Nice to
Hey,
see
man.
you in person. How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Long
Good.
time no see.
Yeah. So I just have a question, because I understand that you are an AI platform, right? You did develop a service application, and I just want to know, as an entrepreneur, what was your background with those kind of skills? And I kind of had a like quick browse through your LinkedIn, right? So did you develop the company by yourself? Did you pay other developers to do that for you? And where did your technical expertise come in? And how much of an understanding did you have to have?
Yeah, great question, Tim. I don't have a lot of technical expertise, first of all, but I did work 2014 in Facebook on helping evolve machine learning models and seeing how it works. So I was in a team that trained like these models on detecting certain stuff on the platform for businesses. And I always had a curiosity in machine learning, which is basically part of AI, I guess, like predicting things. And I think AI is the same. I don't understand AI well. So even one time, IBC told me, all these LLMs, like, what does LLM stand for? And she looked at me, it's like large language model. And I think that was like 1.5 years ago. It was, how's it called? Skip Capital. I talked with one of the people there. And then, but actually I don't think it's a dumb question because I kind of knew what it is, but actually I think no one really knows what it does in real and how it works, and I felt like it's fucking dumb it's really bad that people always throw around these terms and like LLM, AI, and they don't really know what it fundamentally is, right? It's like this buzzword. So my background is I did a lot of product analytics at Meta. I was always curious in statistics, and I did all the statistics classes. I never did engineering really. So I have a passion for understanding numbers and experimentation and stuff, and that then allowed me to, even when we're creating models now and staff models, I understand how to do it, to classify certain to some degree. But my team, obviously, I have a technical co-founder, and I work actually now on design and on the product vision, and I understand some technical parts, but I don't have a technical background. And I have someone I work with, and I pay him lots of money to do that. It's very expensive, but I still have a good deal in this case. So it's a good idea that you learn coding yourself and create some sort of MVP, but also, I think my background is not technical. It's very hard what we are doing. The resources are scarce. And yesterday we hired an engineer. Today we stopped working with him. So we're constantly testing out new people to join the team because we're actually trying to find the perfect fit for our company. And a lot of people are not a good fit for us, and it's very, very hard. But you need to spend a lot. In my case, we're spending lots of resources in it, and that's why we have investment to build what we do, to build what we're doing. Yeah. So I haven't done it myself. Yeah. All the AI capabilities are like out of our vision together. Yeah.
That was kind of my next question. How much did you pay that person start to do that for you?
You can pay
at the very start.
So since I worked as a product manager in Canva and with engineer team, product growth person at Meta, and work with engineers for a long time, like 8.5 years or 9 years in total. I have really good expertise on speaking the language of these guys. Usually it's guys, it's not girls, unfortunately. It's guys. I can say guys. It's like old dudes. In San Francisco, when I lived in San Francisco, and then also when I in Canva, I understand roughly what they need. And I had another company before, next to Facebook, where we actually paid engineers. Basically, if you don't have any knowledge in it, like you need to start very incremental, hire like people on Upwork and Fiverr to do small little things, like and then test your way through. But basically, if you want to have in Sydney an engineer, you pay like 200,000 Australian dollar easily a year. And that's just the salary. So on top of that, I know I have employer contribution, maybe it's like 250 if it's a good person. And so that's kind of the reality. And then you cannot do designs. You need a designer, maybe half a designer, and then you cannot manage them because you don't know how to put the product. So you need a product manager. You pay like just, if you don't have any of those skills, you will pay like $500,000 a year just to run the operations,
Okay.
So you need to learn some of that somewhat. That is helpful.
Final question. Did you build in Angular or React? I
can't answer that question. I don't know. I think we have like PHP because it was easy, but I don't know. You need to ask the engineering people. It doesn't matter. We build what is effective, for us, and what is easy, cheap, and fast. So right now we are still in the mindset that we're launching quick and destroying it later. So we're basically trying to find the best engineers possible to do the job. Like we have like a task, and then they build it whatever framework they want. And then if it works, we can always rebuild later. But now we have 90 or 100,000 visitors a month. So it's quite a lot. So now we actually start thinking about it. But that's kind of what my answer to you. I don't know. I can follow up if you really want to know. I think it doesn't matter. And all the engineers use AI to develop, like all of them. All of them use AI. Our operations team, like Mary's actually, and Alicia are like AI growth operations specialists. So we all use AI in all our workflows, like for everything. All our engineers, people on the team, they do YouTube, probably as a student as well, to submit your papers. I don't know what you do, but yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Pai and Mary and Alicia. It's been wonderful to have you in class with us. I'm going to stop the recording.